I had one of my new Crocs nearly wash away on a flood right in front of me outside the tent vestibule. So that forced me out of the tent and into the storm. And I'm getting a little bit worried about our boat actually riding this river down into the water.
Similar to millennials, Taters Tuesday has ruined everything. We're flooding, there's lightning, we may die. That's what I hear on the internet anyway. This has literally been going on for, I don't know, most of the night. We're in a line of thunderstorms. If you're wondering why I'm wearing rain gear inside the tent, it just about flooded out in here. And I thought we might have to run for it, so everything's packed away.
I think this is the longest storm we've ever been in. Been through together.
Together, yeah. I once spent 13 hours in a bivvy in a downpour.
Where was that?
Red Lake up in the Sierra Nevada. It just did not end, but.
And also probably the most quantity of water I've ever seen come down at once.
And probably the least comfortable I've been due to just lightning risk. We did the best we could last night, but I'm wishing we were in the trees where we'd be worried that the trees were going to fall on us, but not that we were going to get struck by lightning.
You can tell that it's an extreme circumstance because it is almost 8 o'clock and Matt has not asked for a single cup of coffee yet.
I actually really need to go to the bathroom, but well, on the plus side, I do always say that true civilizations have bidets everywhere, and this is basically like a worldwide bidet.
Oh yeah, on that note, I just got my shower. I just got a shower, so I think I'm good for another 2 weeks.
She just exercised that fetish she has of scooping water out of the boat with her boot.
Because the boat was almost totally full of water, and I'm worried about that much weight, that much pressure from the inside. I don't think it's enough to handle that. But it's a good thing we left it right side up, because if we had left it upside down and we had paddles and life jackets and stuff out on the ground, they would have been washed into the river. Or blown away.
I'm worried about me washing into the river. Boat is important, but secondary.
We've had lots of little spiders come in to try and take refuge. Oh yeah, look at all these ones.
There's also one that's inside that I haven't had the heart to scoot out.
Don't scoot them out. They can hide in here with us.
Well, everything survived, at least for the moment. Seem to have survived fairly intact, if sandy.
So sandy. This storm has really messed with our routine. Neither of us got much sleep last night. The first storm hit around 11:30, and I got a little bit of sleep between the storms, but it would feel like I would just close my eyes and then boom, I'd be woken up by the next round of thunder, lightning. We'd be having to hold up the tent against the wind. So we didn't get much sleep at all. Finally went to sleep around 9 a.m. this morning when the storm settled down a little bit, got a couple hours, and now at 11:30 the rain has fully stopped for the moment, and so we are starting our morning routine now. So 12 hours of storms, about 4 inches of rain per reporting, hundreds of lightning flashes that we saw, and when you look at the app it just looks like a little kid took the lightning stamp and went crazy with it. And we're not even sure if this is going to be it or not. I don't know how it can rain for 12 hours and the sky still looks like this.
That got crazy. We both ended up having to get out of the tent, basically stripped down, running around, just trying to make sure we held on to everything. At one point, we actually went for the trees because the downstrikes were getting so bad, but as with a lot of these, it's non-trivial to actually get into any sort of cover here, so we had to give up and come back to the tent. 2 o'clock, things have finally quieted down enough that we're packing up. We do have a headwind, we do have a little bit of rain, but So one of my pet peeves on like 10 beginner backpacking tips sort of, algorithm bait is people saying, oh yeah, make sure and set your tent up completely flat. when you get rain like this, any sort of flat ground would basically be underwater. We always set up on a bit of a rise, a bit of a slope. You know, like this would have been ideal because it had an angle and we wouldn't have to worry about accumulation. But look how this one worked out. We basically had flooding on both sides, but our tent was mostly out of it. And if you thought yesterday was a late day getting going, it is currently 2:45. We didn't get a break until afternoon, and the wind's been going in the rain. So now our goal is we have about 6 hours of five hours of paddling. There is another storm coming behind this, so we are going to try and prioritize finding a little more secure spot this time, aka a little closer to vegetation. Because last night was one of the most stressful nights I can remember spending on trail, and coming from me, that is actually saying a thing. There were just so many downstrikes so damn close to us.
I just wanted to get to sleep.
No, she was asleep through all of it, because when I talked to her and I was expressing my concern, she was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. She'd like pat me on the shoulder and then she'd start snoring again. So concern levels were high on Miss, the universe is a just and fair place back there.
The thunder kept waking me up.
Oh. Versus I'm anticipating getting hit by lightning at any point, so I never even got to sleep. So we were both rather tired. So it was dark when we got in, so we couldn't have seen this, but in retrospect, that's the sort of camp we generally look for. Tuck in on the vegetation, close to the trees, so we at least have a little bit of shield from any downstrikes. So we are going to try and set up camp a little earlier today and make sure we have better options, because yet another big storm is apparently coming. So I had been assuming that those dead carp were propeller kills, but per something I saw on Facebook, something else is going on. People are talking about thousands of them in the water down in Louisiana. And I mean, you can see 5 of them right there, and we sure are smelling them a lot. I missed it because I was worried a bit that we were gonna like tip over going through that old wing dam back there. But apparently off to the side on one, Jen just saw like hundreds of fish piled up.
Yeah, I didn't see it till we were right there either. But then I just got a glimpse of hundreds of white bodies, open mouths. Yeah, stuff of nightmares. Oh, don't do it.
2 thumbs up? Nope. Man, Jen, you are getting so much PTSD from this trip. Between the headwaters, the finger gun.
Yeah, lots and lots of happy memories, but I don't think I can quite forget the sight of all those dead fish looking at me, or the feeling of waking up in the middle of the night, feeling a tickle and just picking ticks off of my ear, my knee.
Your other bits. Hey, you didn't have it in your genitals, thank you very much. At least you were spared that, unlike certain people. And of course, we got a headwind. And we have the first turtle we found for taters in days. Yay! Hopefully it's alive.
First turtle since the confluence.
Not the biggest barge raft, but I think that is the biggest tow that we have seen. It's got an extra story on any of the others. The river has gotten a little wider again. We still have current going with us, but it does feel a little less strong. When we're going by the buoys, they're not flying quite as much. Fortunately, we just have another 60, 70 miles and another big river comes in, so hopefully the speed maintains. The current plus the wind causes a bunch of interesting stuff to happen. Yesterday when we were going by the town, we basically ended up in a whirl grill briefly, which is basically what that looks like. I will say there have been multiple times when I was quite happy to be in a overly stable canoe versus our kayaks. And you can see this is a boil where the water comes up, which is all sorts of funny to paddle over. We're basically riding behind whatever these bumpers are. There's a tow out there and we didn't feel like getting kicked around. Instead, we're riding boils and whirlwinds of dead fish. Oh! We're seeing animals off and on, just not as many as up top. We've mostly been alone out here at sea the rest of the tugs, but there are the occasional vessels like this. I'm kind of curious. I know there is the Great Loop that people do, which is basically a motorized, big loop down the Mississippi and I think up the coast. So normally there would be back channels accessible here, but water's so low, these dikes just end up completely exposed. And even if we can get in, we're never sure if we can make it out the other side. We almost didn't last night. And we are on the hunt for campsites. Plenty of places to camp, not many places with protection though. Okay, not perfectly ideal, but it'll work. And we're at least better sheltered by all this than we were yesterday. And once again, it seems like maybe we should move our finding camp forward just a bit.
Today was probably the least happy day on the river. Still a far great happier than any day in town, but just kind of a downer. We barely got any sleep last night. We had a hard time getting out of camp. Everything was wet and sandy. And then once we got on the river, there were dead fish everywhere. And then we got to camp and we got bugs, both the mosquitoes and the little gnats and things that just fly in your face endlessly. The happy parts were we did see some deer and a turtle, which is the most animals besides birds and dead fish that we've seen since the confluence of the Missouri, and still very much enjoying sailing along with the current. So camp tonight, we did get up closer to the trees for a little bit more peace of mind with the lightning. There it is. There's another lightning storm on the way. Hopefully not as long as intense as the one last night, so we can get a little better sleep tonight. Home sweet home for the night. There is gonna be some murdering once I get into the tent tonight, isn't there? Okay, what the heck are these?
What?
These bugs that are all over the ground.
I can't see. Oh. Gandhi? What have you done? Maybe you should hand in the other way.